The Alpine Shire is a bit of a mecca for outdoor activities. Apart from cycling, there's a whole raft of other things you can do, whether it be bushwalking, skiing, paragliding, or flying hang gliders, or even gliding. Even down to bushwalking and running. You name it, you can do it here.
EWS, the Enduro World Series there. That's the bike he did it on. He smashed it. He comes down the line fastest.
Yeah, all my contracts are based around Enduro, and I was second overall in the Enduro World Series last year, so just pre-season training really, all this stuff to get as fit as I can. Skills has, always been there, so just my goal is use these races to get fit and a bit of harden up training as well, when you've got to go so hard for so long, it's pretty physically tough, so yeah, just preparing, doing something a bit different and just preparing for the Enduro World Series, which starts in Chile in April. Yeah, I mean, the momentum it's gained in the last 12, 18 months has just been phenomenal, it's just blown up big time. All the sponsors want to be a part of it, the whole industry's behind it, and it's just pushing the progression of all the equipment so far and so quickly too. So basically I explain it to people as like rally on bikes, you've got to be fit and prepared to go, 5-6 hour days. The downhills aren't like a typical downhill, they're usually quite long, and they'll throw in some short climbs and some long physical sections, and it's just an all-round test. You've got to be fit, you've got to be strong, you've got to be smooth, you've got to have the skills, and you've got to do all that without getting mechanical over a full day's riding. So it just tests everything that you need to be a complete mountain biker. I was happy with second for the first year of the World Series, but there's always one step further you want to go, and that's obviously first. So that's a huge goal of mine. It's been my focus ever since the end of last season, really, and that's what these races are all about. Just preparing for that as best I can, and really want to become Enduro World Champion this year.
So a very focused Jared Graves coming into this year's season. He definitely wants that World Champion crown after getting second last year. And we return to the men's XCO event here. We've got Dan McConnell back out in front. No changes since we left you before the break. And in second place, the man we were just talking to, Jared Graves, super fit in second place in the men's XCO.
If I was doing a national cross-country championships as a training for another race, I think I'd be pretty stoked coming second.
Yeah, second place isn't bad, but he's actually looking at this event as a preparation for his main focus, which is the Enduro.
Not bad for his B event.
But Dan McConnell looking very nice indeed, comfortable as.
Still, it's not a huge gap. I mean, as Dan's leaving there, we can see Jared's coming through. He's right behind.
He's keeping him in sight. Where's our third place? Who have we got in third? Have we seen any changes since our last lap?
What should be Mark? There he is. It's Mark Topelski. He's about a minute back on Graves, so pushing hard, but having a stunning race. Seeing Mark there in third place is a big surprise.
And our next two riders coming through towards the finish line now. It's going to be Andy Blair, and who's our other rider there, Mike?
That looks like Brendan Johnston from the Target Trek mountain bike team. So these two guys have been together here. It's pretty interesting, really, that I think Blair is focused on trying to get to the Cairns World Cup, and he actually raced the World Champs there back in '96.
Yeah, not a lot of riders are going to be able to boast that interesting fact as we work our way back up in the trees. We catch up with the under-23 field.
Looks like Cam Ivory's moved to the front there. Reasonable gap behind, although we can't see a whole lot through the forest at this point.
And the information we're getting is there's been a change in the second place, which has seen Jack Haig has gone down.
And here's Michael Crosby doing Ectomorphs proud.
Yeah, there we go. We got Jack Hay, who was coming in second place, was actually vying for first, and now he's had to get back on the bike and get back around to try and get to the pointy end of the podium.
Go, Cam!
Super smooth down there by Cam Ivory. Interesting that he's riding a hardtail while his other teammates are on dual suspension, including Crosby. not a teammate, but also on a specialised rider.
So the Bright track, what do you think? Hardtail, or should we be on a dually?
Look, I think a lightweight efficient dually would be my choice to ride. Saw hardtails win just about every category though. So, but a lot of the routes that you get in pine forest and those lumps of forestry land that you get from heavy machinery on clay-based soil makes it pretty choppy. But less than 2 hours of racing, hardtail can be right.
Work our way back to the elite men's leader. 2 on the plate, Dan McConnell. And still looking very, very comfortable, just like his other half had not that long ago in the women's elite field. Dan McConnell is really taking this race by the horns.
See Graves here just pushing the bike into that corner, really seeing his bike handling skills coming out in some of these descents.
And hasn't he got some skills? Like, this man has been an Olympian in BMX. He's been a world champion in 4-cross, and now he's going for the Enduro World Crown. And just on the side, what we're going to do, we're going to race XCO and see what we can do with a Nationals event. Look, for my money, probably one of the best all-round riders that Australia's probably ever produced.
Yeah, let's not forget his 3rd place at the Downhill World Champs last year on his Enduro bike too.
And apparently has produced 1,900 watts here this weekend whilst racing the XCE. So we might see the Australian track team try and recruit him.
So Dan's just crossed that in 18:01 and a little bit. So that's a flying lap. Probably one of the fastest we'll see here this weekend.
So is that going to be a tactical move, you think, Mike? Are we seeing him try and maybe put a couple of nails into the coffin to try and put Jared Graves away?
Well, he wants to improve that gap every lap, and I think if he can get that little bit out of sight as well for on the smoother sections like the start-finish lap, it's going to be a good mental advantage. Here's Mark, he's done an 18:52, so these are still really fast laps, less than 19 minutes, very fast laps, but Dan McConnell almost took it under 18 on that one.
Back to our under-23s. Ivory still top of the pops in the under-23s class.
You can really see the steep climbs here too. There's like lots of punched little climbs making up that 220 metres of climbing per lap.
So that's Cam Ivory, comes back up to our start-finish area and is starting to dominate our under-23s class. Really big effort from Ivory here, really trying to show the rest of the field where he thinks he should be, and that's obviously on top of the podium.
Yeah, well, he won the cross-country series and the Eliminator one, and he just did an 18:27 for a lap. So that's about 26 seconds slower than Dan McConnell, but still some of the fastest laps we've seen this weekend.
Yeah, looking at those lap times, that had pretty much put him 3rd in elite. So he's doing some awesome times for under 23 when, you know, the theory is that maybe the under 23s are a little bit slower than the elites, but definitely not the case here.
Yeah, I wonder about that category because you see most of the guys in under 23 look like they're well and truly developed as riders. Maybe that's something the UCI will think in the future as well. There have been the changes for the series this year where they are racing with the elite men.
Just catching back up with Dan McConnell and Jared Graves here through this grueling climb up through the pine forest. You can see him really driving at the pedals to get over the sharp pinches. McConnell now into the descent. And just watching Dan carve his way down through the bottom end of the course here. Gorgeous scenery, bright, just a lovely area of Australia. And the Alpine Shire of Victoria, huge supporters of cycling in general, mountain biking, and there's no shortage of cyclists here this weekend, Mike.
No, it's a long weekend in Victoria, and the Three Peaks Sportive is on. It's 235 Ks. And then on Monday, which being a public holiday, there's the first round of the Real Insurance XCM series. First of 5 rounds for the start of the year. But here's Cam Ivory coming straight back up.
Just the infrastructure too the Alpine Shire's put into this event. It's great. Great trails all over the place. Beautiful town to sit in.
Yeah, lots of bike paths too. I think I probably rode on more bike path yesterday in Bright than I have on the North Shore of Sydney in 10 years.
And Dan McConnell coming around again. Final lap here for McConnell. This is last chance for Graves. If he's got it in the bag, this is when he's going to have to spend it.
And so there's Graves crossing. Still pretty much a minute behind.
So McConnell stretching his lead over Graves as we work into the last lap. Graves doesn't look like he's slowing, still powering up that hill. We saw that on the first lap.
He's not complacent, and here's Mark Topolsky, sitting well in third.
Now, you said Mark was probably one we didn't expect to see here in third, so this is a huge effort from him.
And that looks like Andrew Blair's moved up to fourth place, getting some food in. I mean, Blair has been racing on the World Cup circuit for quite a few years, and just more recently, probably since about, I guess it'd be 2011, started focusing on staying at home and racing. He's got a lot of cross-country experience. So it's actually not that surprising seeing him in fourth, even though you said he's more of an endurance rider. He's got a lot of world-level cross-country experience.
And here we go, we're going to cross over. This is Cameron Ivory, our race leader for the under-23s. This is their last lap, so Ivory's just laying it all out. And that's Jack Haig.
He's back into second place.
That's a huge effort. After a crash, he's managed to get back on the bike, a pull-in second, which would have been, I'm thinking it's Michael Crosby. Crosby's now been passed. Ivory just smashing his way to this finish. The under-23s leader, make no bones about it, he has put this one away and put everybody on notice that he is certainly an elite talent for the future when it comes to XCO event.
That's right, National Series win for XCO and XCE, and now the under-23 National Championship title. He's really done it proud.
And here we go, Jack Haig. Huge effort from him after a crash, and he's clawed his way back into second. Of course, the word is that he's going to be going across the road, perhaps following the same career path that we've seen Cadell Evans do so successfully. Look, why is it we're seeing so many cross-country riders end up on the road, do you think, Mike?
Well, I think they make versatile riders. You've got a high explosive power, you've got great climbing ability, and typically you've got a rider who's somewhat used to looking after themselves. They don't, so put them in a team structure and they just shine.
Dare I say it, experiencing a lot of pain.
Yeah, that's right. Those two boys didn't look comfortable after crossing the finish line.
And here's Cam Ivory.
This is my first national title in, I think, 7 years of mountain biking. So I had the cyclocross title last year, but this is so much sweeter than that.
And tough course, a lot of climbing?
Yeah, too much climbing for me. I would have liked a bit more descending, but yeah, I guess I've just done the right training leading into it, and yeah, couldn't have asked for a better race.
Yeah, Jack, massive battle out there. How was it for you today?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting for me. Coming from road racing back to here, it's such a different intensity, and I tried to sort of slow it up the first couple of laps because I knew if I could keep it together, I'd hopefully come stronger as the race went on, and I ended up hitting my bars on a tree really hard and went over the bars, and sort of that's where Cam got the gap. I'm not used to such wide bars from my roadie, so that was sort of pretty disappointing, but I don't know, it was fun. Like, I didn't come in here with any expectations, so yeah, congratulations to Cam and all the rest of the guys.
Here we go, we're going to return back to our elite men's final lap. Dan McConnell out in front, where he's been pretty much from lap 2.
Right, he's just holding it together. He's got a good lead on Jared Graves, so no mistakes, and he's going to have this title.
His Graves still popping his way through there, smooth as you like.
He actually makes it look easy, doesn't he?
Yeah, very, very smooth rider. Of course, his four-cross background, that's all about catching the backside of jumps. So I suppose he's doing a similar thing to what we see some of our downhill riders do, where they try and backside a lot of the trail. Saves energy.
Really useful on this kind of course too, where it is lumpy. There's not lots of rocks, but it's a lumpy course, which if you can take a better line over things, it is faster.
Yeah, you can only say for Dan McConnell, this looks like he's about to top off what's already been an awesome career. Dual national champion already, dual Olympian already, World Cup winner in the last 18 months. This man is on fire, and this puts it to bed. We're expecting massive things from this man over the next year, and here we go. Trek Factory Racing Team, Dan McConnell wraps up the men's XCO.
Great racing by Dan, so he gets to wear the green and gold overseas this year. He's going to be a marked man with his results last year, and with the green and gold on his shoulders too, he's going to stand out from the crowd.
Ladies and gentlemen, your national champion.
And Jared Graves After a huge race for him, just using the men's national Lexio as a bit of a warm-up event for his enduro campaign overseas. He's going to come in for a second place. Not too shabby if you say he's actually using this as a warm-up campaign.
He's looking pretty shelled too. He's worked hard today. He didn't take it lightly, even if it is for training. He left it all out there. Good racing from those two.
Lots of respect between those two riders. We're looking for our third place now. I think that one was still up in the air as we come up to the last lap. Have a look at this.
It's Mark Topalski.
Well, you said it before. It was unexpected.
Yeah, he looks like he's even surprised himself. But he's training well. He's got a big engine, and he's got the results.
And definitely there's the happiest couple in Australian mountain biking.
Dan, you really wanted that, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a national title, so, you know, they never come easy, so only once a year, so, you know, it's really special and it's one that everyone wants to win, so.
And you made your move pretty early. I mean, what was the plan today?
Yeah, I sort of just wanted to, you know, get into a good pace early, and I sort of came through the first lap in second, and we sort of had a little bit of a gap, so I sort of went on with it and was able to get a good lead, and then I could just sort of ride good tempo and get into my rhythm, which, you know, that's where I get into my strength, so I was really happy I found out.
It's always a bit of a battle for me to take it out at an easy pace that I can sustain for the whole distance. So, yeah, I just took it really easy the first 2 laps and settled into my rhythm, and I feel like my pacing worked well, and just Dan was too strong.
Did you feel that you could catch Dan, or was it just a case of settling for second on the podium?
Oh, well, I gave it everything I had, you know. When he sort of attacked me on the second lap, I felt like I could have gone with him, but I had to be smart and just race my own race and settle into my own pace from there and see if I could pull him back. And some guys were yelling at me that he was sort of looking like he was hurting, and I was feeling pretty good, and I gave it everything I had in the last lap and a half, but yeah, he was too strong.
So the men's podium for our elite males reads Dan McConnell, top of the pops, Jared Graves, Mark Topalski, Andrew Blair, Adrian Jackson and Dylan Cooper. So Dan McConnell here putting on the Australian champion jersey, something which I'm sure he's going to wear with pride as he attacks the World Cup circuit over the next 12 months. After a 1-year hiatus, the Real Insurance XCM Series is back with an exciting and an innovative 5-race series, the first of which formed part of the 4-day mountain bike festival that was the 2014 Subaru Australian Championships.
It's good to have the Real Insurance Series back. I think in 2011 and 2012 it really showed the strength in the races, and so it's good to see it starting off here in Bright, right on the back of the national champs.
The hilly 75-kilometre course was sure to test the legs, especially considering the competitors had raced the Olympic format cross-country only 2 days before. Australian cyclocross representative Melissa Ansett would be one of the favourites for the women's race, despite the long marathon format.
Well, I'll be good for an hour, and then we'll see.
And the Real Insurance XCM Series.
The cross country, the climbs are really intense, really steep. And although there's a lot more climbing today, it's slightly lower gradient most of the time. And I think that that'll be a bit gentler on the legs.
The men's race would feature the current Australian marathon champion, Jason English.
It's definitely going to suit the cross-country riders. I sort of really need 4 or 5 hours if people start dying before I can go any good at one of these races. We'll see how we go. It's a nice hot day today as well, so I think nutrition and just looking after yourself is going to play a big part into this event as well.
Luckily, most of the guys here have raced 2 days ago as well, so everyone's legs are hopefully equally as sore, but yeah, looking forward to a good hard race. Me, Sam, Dylan and English got a bit of a gap, and then it was just down to me and Sam by the end of the first lap. I think the single track was actually the deciding factor. Me and Sam were just having fun, and he was really going hard in the single track, and I was struggling to keep up actually.
I tried to get away a bit on the descent, so we opened up an early lead, just working together a little bit to both of our advantages, and we're expecting a few of the other fast boys to come across, but you know,
we got the lead and thought let's stick with this.
I knew if we hit the last couple of K together, I wouldn't be able to get rid of him, and it'd be a sprint finish. So on the climb, about a third of the way around the last lap, I just sort of gave it everything I had, which wasn't much at the end of the race, but it was probably just a little bit more than he had in the tank, and got a gap of about a minute or two, and then managed to hold him off.
With a tactically perfect ride, Victoria's Adrian Jackson took victory in the opening round of the Real Insurance XCM Series ahead of a very fast finishing Dylan Cooper. Melissa Ansett took the lead early in the women's race as teammates Joanne Bennett and Sarah Riley worked together to bridge the gap.
A few of us girls sort of kept together up the first climb, but Mel seemed to have better legs from the word go and sort of just tapped away from Sarah Riley, myself and Imogen, and then she just kept going.
I surprised myself. At the 3-hour mark, I started to feel a bit tired and I just had to keep pushing on.
Ansett held on to take the victory from West Australian Bennett.
Oh, it's fantastic. I didn't think I'd be at the front of the race, and I ended up there and just sort of rode away from Joe and Sarah, and I was quite surprised and just kept going. So I was, yeah, really happy.
The Australian Marathon Championships at Mount Joyce in Queensland will also serve as round 2 of the series on April the 6th.